Hi, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
I still don't know what happened last week. Weird.
Just a little glitch.
It was, yeah, all this technology can be daunting.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
hear you there.
Yeah, how's it going?
Going good.
Is it?
Back in the swing of things. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's miserable.
Yeah, I'm only up to about 70 ounces of water a day. I'm getting up way too many times. So I'm not getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
So
Are you drinking water earlier in the day or?
yeah, I'm trying to finish it by like 4, but then I get thirsty because I
Yeah.
go, I basically go a good 12 plus hours if I don't drink anything after 4. So, but yeah,
Part of it might be with the kidneys too, they're functioning better now and things like that too. So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you do what you can. I mean, don't like stress over it.
yeah.
Don't
I mean,
stress.
when I was at the hospital, they asked me how much I was drinking, and I told them, and they told me that I really don't need to drink that much. But I do try to get at least the 64, and then whatever I can over that. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, and water is, I mean, because you are exercising and it really, I mean, it really is good. I mean, typically you want to drink, it used to be like half your body weight in ounces.
Mhm.
Makes sense,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, Lori's on, maybe.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi. I just can't see you. I can hear you, but I don't have to see you either.
I was gonna flip it back over to camera, but I gotta figure out how.
Oh. Yeah, and everybody's phone sometimes emulates a little bit different. So
Yeah,
no worries at all. Yeah, happy Monday.
yeah, happy Monday.
Yeah, crazy. I'm gonna admit Hillary in. Awesome. We're just gonna talk a little bit about some supplements. It's certainly not all inclusive. It really depends on what your goals are. There she is. What your goals are, and sometimes it just depends on your medical history of what you should or shouldn't have. Hey, Hillary, nice to see you. Cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. I documented a few of these things. This tab, here we go. So a lot of these you've probably heard of, and like I said, this is not an all-inclusive list. It's just some of them that I think are really important for our age. And again, it really depends on your goals and stuff. So I take some different things that we can talk about too. And then if you guys are taking any kind of, vitamins or supplements that you find that are very helpful, you can certainly let the group know, because there's a lot of stuff out there. There's things for inflammation, there's things for stress, there's all kinds of stuff. In fact, it reminded me, I was going to share some. I'll have to run and get them in a little bit, but Pat's jumping on here too. So of course, I'll just kind of go through what I have and then we can just generate some conversation. Calcium, super important, right? It's found in milk and dairy products and other, like fortified foods, but 1% of a woman's body weight is calcium, and so it is important. It does, 1% doesn't sound like a lot, but in a sense, I mean, it is an important supplement or vitamin. You can get it through foods. But I think we have to realize foods are super important to have, and they will have. I just muted you, Pat. Sorry. Calcium is important. It's found in our bones and our teeth, as you know, and we as women are more susceptible, 4 times more susceptible to osteoporosis than men. So it's really important to get enough essential lifelong, bone health, because there are, and especially small framed women, more prone to osteoporosis. And sometimes you can actually fracture and then fall So it doesn't always have to be a fall and then a fracture. And I've had a grandmother who had really severe osteoporosis because she just didn't always like to listen to other people and what they thought. So she never really took care of that. And she did fall and she broke her elbow. And and then she just couldn't go back home after that. So a lot of times when older women fall and they break something, it can be life-changing, where you have to go to assisted living and all those kinds of things. So osteoporosis is something that I think is important to be aware of. And we'll talk a little bit here. I want to get into the, calcium does play, it's not just for bones, right? Your heart and muscle action, blood clotting, and normal cell function. So a lot of the supplements do help with just normal bodily function. So it's not everything, when you look at a woman or a man, it's not just taking care of the outside, it's also taking care of the inside. And that's through foods, whole foods for sure, but also supplementation as we do get older. So who really needs calcium? Well, all adult women, even, teens or younger women. And it's interesting, 90% of adult bone mass is achieved by age 18. And then peak bone mass occurs in the late 20s. And then after that, it starts to decrease. So women older than 30, it's important because we lose bone mass and strength as we get older, and that has to do with hormones. We talk a lot about, that's why it's important for us as women to have a strength component with our exercise, because it's good to have those compound movements. It's good to have, I don't want to say like high impact, but a little bit of impact, because it will help build bone strength. And so, what's the test for bones?
Bone
Exercise.
density,
What'd you say?
bone density.
Density, yes. So I've had women in group fitness, and they've been older, and you have you go for your bone density scan, and several of the women, because they did do some strength workouts and stuff, their bone density tests increased. So they did develop some bone strength from just those types of exercises. So, and menopausal and postmenopausal women such as us, our bone loss tends to accelerate because of the less estrogen that we are making. So it's super important to get the calcium, but also to have some strength exercises to do. And that's why I really, really push that. It's not only good for bones, but it's good for your muscle and everything like that. So how much should you take? So if you're 50 and younger, they recommend 500 milligrams. And then of course, eating those rich calcium foods, yogurts, cheeses you can get. Oops, I can't spell, I guess. And other fortified products that have calcium in it. If you're older than 50, I recommend that you take a supplement, 800 to 1000 milligrams on top of that. Sometimes you can split that dosage, having taking 500 in the morning and 500 at night, and then you're going to maximize that absorption. A lot of times if you're taking a lot of supplements, everything that we eat and drink and medicines goes through our liver or our kidneys. And so it's good to separate some of those kinds of things. Now, this is one thing with, if you have kidney problems, you have to be a little bit more mindful of a lot of calcium. And so I would recommend you talking to your physician. And so maybe Marie, that might be something that you would talk to him or her about, maybe sticking to those calcium rich foods, but then just watching your bone density, how that goes. Men tend to have more problems with kidneys, but it's the same type of thing with their calcium as well. So I will be putting this underneath the video so you guys have access to this. So calcium is super important, and then for that bone density, it is as well. So fish oil is heart healthy. So fish, there's mackerel, lake trout, herring, sardines, tuna, and salmon. Typically, tuna and salmon are the ones that people enjoy more. I do like sardines. Not many people do. Herring tends to be more, in my family, more of a holiday thing. I don't know why it was herring on crackers or something. And I don't mind it either. It's not something I eat on a regular basis. But those are all rich sources of your omega-3s, namely the EPA and the DHA. And I'm not going to pronounce those. You guys can pronounce those, but those are what we're looking for. And so they are highly specialized fats that we cannot make in our body because, first of all, we don't eat enough fish, and we just can't eat enough to get that. A lot of times and it's not just women, but people don't like fish. It's too fishy, or they've had bad fish and they just can't eat anymore. They don't like salmon. Sometimes there's that fear of the mercury, the heavy metals and stuff. And so taking a supplement of a fish oil or omega-3s it's just important to take that supplement. And you can there's different brands out there. But it's also important to have that for our heart and our blood vessels. It helps lower triglycerides and really good for reducing heart disease. So it's also good for your joints. It helps reduce inflammation, and it's good for our brains. Our brain is a muscle. So this is interesting. Some research has tied poor omega-3 intake to moodiness and depression. So take your omega-3s if you're moody. And who needs it? All adult women, especially those of us who don't eat fish several times a week. I have to tell you, I've kind of cut back because it is so blasted expensive. It is crazy. And if you're at risk for cardiovascular disease, if you have elevated triglycerides, it's really a good idea to do your fish oil. And then even if overweight women, if you have joint tenderness or honestly any kind of joint issues, the omega-3s really work well. So how much should you take? 1 gram daily helps most women, but if you do have problems with triglycerides, and physicians will guide you, they do promote fish oil as well. 2 to 3 grams of fish oil daily with a diet low in alcohol consumption and fatty foods. So always, sometimes I don't want to oh my gosh, you got to check with your physician for everything. But if you do have a bleeding disorder, taking blood thinners, blood pressure medications, you have to just be really careful. So if you're, I don't know if you've ever had surgery, they always tell you if you're taking fish oil, please don't take that, for so many days before your surgery and things like that. So, or if you're allergic to fish, you certainly don't want to take fish oil. So that's kind of a no-brainer to me. But so those are just some things to be mindful. The omega-3 supplement, you have to be careful. You kind of look for those that are certified to have low heavy metals, contaminants, and things like that. Because if you do take something that's not very well processed, you're going to burp that up. I've taken some that I didn't know any better when I first started doing this. And it's just gross burping that up. Then something's not right. So there are some really good ones out there. And what I can do is I can grab my stuff and then put that in the comment section too. So you see what I'm taking. Not that you have to take what I'm taking, but I've been doing this long enough that I have some really good brands that I like a lot, and they're not real expensive too. Another supplement would be folate. So it's a water-soluble B vitamin. It's you'll find it in spinach and asparagus and some of your fruits, like your melons, cantaloupe, things like that. So this is really good for our cells. It's good for our regeneration, and our cells would not function properly if we didn't have folate. So think of folate as foliage, and you wouldn't be able. You make new cells every day. We all do, and tissues, and that with our skin and our hair and all that. So like I said, this is stuff on the outside, but it comes from keeping the inside well with your foods and certain supplements too. Folate supplement, you can find folate in a multivitamin too. And 400 micrograms is the daily recommended dose. And there's a lot of different articles that you can find out there about, is a multivitamin worth it? I think it's great to have. I think it helps our immune system. It gives us, and even though like I eat pretty well, I don't eat well 100% of the time. I get sick and all of that. And I still think having a multivitamin is beneficial because of those certain circumstances. You know, anything that we take in is processed through the liver and kidneys. So when you go to the bathroom, you know you've had your vitamins because it's pretty yellow, right? So I think, you know, that's kind of a normal occurrence. I tend to recommend a multivitamin because we do have certain circumstances where we're maybe not eating that great. We're stressed. There's a lot of stress in the world, and it's not going to hurt you. Now, if you're overdosing on certain B vitamins, you do have to be careful. Like there's people in the world that, you know, get the vitamin B shots all the time and they do all of that. And if they need it, that's different. But if you're doing it because, oh, you know, somebody's advertising and it's going to make you have more energy and all that, you just have to be really careful of that. So the B vitamins, they're called the energizers. So that's thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, biotin, pantothenic acid, pyridoxine. All of these, they're water soluble and they're found in a lot of our foods, whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. You don't even realize you're eating all these great B vitamins. And so that's why your vegetables are so important, and your fruits. People give fruits a bad name because they keep thinking it's sugar. Well, it's not added sugar at all. I don't recommend eating a bowl of fruit before you go to bed, you know, but eating fruits in the morning and around your workouts is super, you know, acceptable. Plus you get the fiber that's in it, and then plus all these B vitamins. Vitamin B12, like I was talking about a little bit before, but you're going to find that in meat, fish, and milk. A lot of us don't take the dairy or drink milk, but you can get other foods that are fortified with B vitamins, not enriched, fortified. Enriched is a little bit different. That's kind of, enriched is more manufactured. Fortified is they're in there, they're added, if that makes any sense. So why are B vitamins important? An active woman can burn more than 2,000 calories a day, and B vitamins are essential for that energy necessary to meet the demands of your body, right? That's whether you're going to the gym, which you all are, or you're working out at home, you're doing household things, right? You're just doing your activities of daily living, showering, maybe you're giving a presentation at work, all those kinds of things. And they're also really good because they're good at reducing your risk of heart disease. Let's see. Yes, reducing by helping keeping your homocysteine levels low. High levels of the naturally occurring amino acid raise the risk of heart disease, attacks, stroke, and blood clots. So we want to maintain and keep those levels a little bit low. Biotin has long been recognized for its vital role in healthy hair. And vitamin B6 is also helps with PMS symptoms and things like that. That's what I mean. I think a lot of women try this, and sometimes it helps and sometimes it doesn't. And who needs this? All of you, because you exercise regularly, you break sweat, you burn a lot of calories every single day, right? And you need those nutrients in your body. Vitamin B12 supplement is good for women over 50. Because I don't even like talking like this, it makes me feel really old, but because age makes it harder to absorb this nutrient from food. And it just does. So, and how much? Well, besides a well-balanced diet of your lean meats, right, whole grains and fruits and vegetables, a multivitamin supplement should provide at least 50 to 100% daily value of B vitamins, which means a multivitamin. So, CoQ10, have you guys heard of this one? Yeah, age gracefully. It's a fat-soluble nutrient found in a lot of foods, especially meats and fish. It's an antioxidant, and it gives your cells lots of energy. It protects against premature aging and supports a healthy heart and blood vessels. So I have a brand that I absolutely love that I take every single day. In a little bit, I'll just grab some of mine from the other room. I didn't really think about that, but I think it'll help. And all women need it. Women, especially that are greater at risk of developing heart disease and cancer, or if you're being treated for those, diseases, and you can talk to your physician about that. Vegetarians, because the best sources of the CoQ10 are meats and fish, and a lot of vegetarians don't eat that. Some will eat fish. Soybeans and canola oils have good sources too, but you can only eat so many soybeans. And then there's the usual dosages. CoQ10 I take with breakfast. You're going to get better absorption. You can take it with lunch too. It doesn't really make that difference. Vitamin D, of course, is a fat soluble vitamin, and that is what we get from our sun. But you can get vitamin D in foods such as milk, but it's also in yogurts and things like that. And this vitamin D will help in developing and maintaining healthy bones and prevention of certain diseases, including osteoporosis. So both calcium and vitamin D. And a lot of times you can get that in one supplement or a multivitamin too. All women need it, because for me, and for maybe some of you that don't drink or eat a lot of dairy, it's really important. For those of us who live in the really cold temperatures, 9 months out of the year, we need it. We definitely do need it. We don't have as much sunlight. We do have sun, but we don't really want to be out when it's 30 below. And we don't have much skin exposed, so we're not going to really be absorbing it. And we make less as we get older, so it's really important to have that vitamin D. So, and then most of us are postmenopausal, but 800 IUs per day, and not to exceed 2,000. But you can get different forms. And then this one I thought was really interesting. Lutein. It's also fat soluble, called the carotenoids. You've probably heard of those. Green leafy vegetables, spinach, but fruits, corn, and egg yolks. It's an antioxidant, and it helps with your eyes. So it helps that age-related macular degeneration. I have a family history of that, and so I eat a lot of spinach, but it's real. I'm hoping it will help. But it supports general health of breast tissues and cervical tissue as well. It also is found in skin and may protect against the sun's damaging light. So that's, I think it's really important to have this as well. Family history of age-related macular degeneration, and those who are in the sun a lot, that as well. And then there's recommendations of how much you should get. So that's really what I wanted to share with you guys. I think it's important to review this once in a while. It's we live in a very stressful environment and in a world, and whatever we can do to help ourselves both on the inside and the outside, I think is really important. So I would like to hear from you guys too, what other like supplements and things that you find, I'll stop sharing here, that you take maybe or find helpful in your everyday life, because we all have different things going on, and we find different things are more helpful than others. So I know one that I wanted to share with you guys is called, and I actually have it here because I have to order more. It's called Stress Essentials. It's a licorice complex. And what it does is it helps support your adrenal function and stress in your life. And honestly, I find it very helpful, unless it's just in my head. But it's only like $20 and you get 2 months worth of it. I'll put it in the notes. And I know this just because I've been going through a lot of stressful things, and it's really helped me a lot. Is this the one I referred to you, Pat? It might have been that one.
I don't remember. I took a stress vitamin a while back, but
yeah,
I haven't done it in a long time.
Yeah, it really is.
You did recommend it to me, but I don't think I ever did anything about it.
Yeah. Honestly, I found that it was really beneficial for me. It just kind of helped me be less anxious. So when you're stressed and stuff, your adrenal glands and your hormones just react to that stress, and not in a good way. So that one I found really helpful. I do take fish oil, I take a multivitamin, I take CoQ10. Just trying to think, I do take something for my liver, like a more of a liver cleanse. That I had some liver damage with my third pregnancy, and so I'm always really careful about that kind of stuff, so I do take that. And of course, I think protein powder, I don't think that's really a supplement, but I mean, I think it's well needed in our environment too, especially with the work that we're doing, exercising and, you know, that kind of stuff, so. But what do you guys? Hillary, are
Well,
you?
I want to,
Oh, go ahead, Pat.
I just want to tell you something that I read a long time ago. And I brought it to the attention of my doctor. And quite frankly, I don't find any of the doctors too interested in discussing supplements at all.
Oh.
They think it's all baloney.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're taking calcium and vitamin D,
Mm-hmm.
I read a big article about this, and mostly DOs and chiropractors believe in this. You have to take vitamin K2 with it, because
Okay.
they're saying that the vitamin D and the calcium just gets excreted right through the body. It does not
Mhm.
take up to the bone
Mhm.
unless you have the K2 component that grabs one piece of the other and then it metabolizes to the bone.
Right.
So I did that for a while. And the only other supplement I take that you didn't mention that I read some stuff about is choline for the brain, for brain health.
Ah. Yeah, I've heard of
That's
it.
one to look at. I'm going to look into the CoQ10, like you said.
Yeah.
But what happens is when I put this all out, it's like, my God, I'm taking a multivitamin, vitamin E for my skin,
Mhm.
and vitamin A for my skin, just an additional one. Then I take the choline, then I take the vitamin D, then I take the vitamin C as an extra additive for my immune system.
Mhm.
Some days it's like, oh my God, it's nighttime and I think, oh, I forgot to take half of these, you know?
Yeah.
It's a lot. And then I also was told by my 96-year-old friend that I've told you about, who drinks vodka every day, flaxseed oil
Mhm.
in the capsules. She says she's been taking 2 of them a day for 30 years. So I bought those too. So now I'm taking those.
I
I'm
know,
not
I have
taking
regular
anything.
pill containers.
Well, you know, I thought about doing that, but that annoys me. It makes me feel very old. If I have this thing on the counter with it, just, I don't like it.
Mhm.
But since I've been taking the new blood pressure stuff, I haven't had a vitamin in 2 weeks because I'm just afraid
Right.
to mix right now. I don't know what's what, because I told you what it did with vitamin B12. You had mentioned it, I guess over the winters there, you said there wasn't a lot of sun and B12 was good for you. And I was like, ooh, why not? I'll take that too. Anything to make me energetic.
Right.
And do you know that I had a major skin reaction to it?
Oh, wow.
Well, subcutaneous something or other, where I got these welts on my skin and underneath was filled with fluid. And they wanted me to go on a biologic shot for life. I said, what? And I did a lot of research and found out that, and that was the only thing I had added to my regimen,
Mm.
that B12 can cause, for some, skin issues. And then turned out my mother was very allergic to it.
Oh, interesting.
And I didn't know that, my sister told me.
I
So
wonder if that had to do with the liver.
I have no clue.
Interesting.
Imagine right away
Yeah.
they want you to take a biologic for life just because you had these. I said, absolutely not. No way.
Yeah, you're right.
So-
Some physicians don't like promote all kinds of supplements, except for some
No.
will with the fish oil. But yeah, I would have to say you're right. They don't really, but yet they'll promote some medication,
Of course.
you know, so.
Sure.
Like I said, I think it depends on what's going on with you and your body, and certain things like kidney function and stuff like that, you do have to be careful, or liver function and that.
Mhm.
So But you're right with the vitamin K too. It is good to include that. With the vitamin D and the calcium.
Yeah, because I do have osteoporosis and I take Fosamax, but I
Right.
haven't been taking that for a few weeks either because
Yeah.
of the tooth thing. They told me to stop it.
Mhm.
And I'm getting a bone density. I missed my appointment. It was 2 weeks ago, so.
Right, I remember we were talking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I can't wait to see how that all shakes out now with all the weightlifting and,
that'll be interesting. And the
Yeah.
choline, I guess I've heard of choline, but I haven't really heard about that in a while, but I remember that being one for brain health.
and they use it on patients with schizophrenia, so I figure, oh, that's definitely gonna help me.
Well, then we all should be taking it.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I do put my stuff in a container because otherwise I will forget. If it's not in my site, it is not gonna happen. And so
I lay it out on the counter every morning, and some days
Yeah.
I'm good and some days I'm not. But I'm not doing that Monday, Sunday crap. Not till maybe when I'm 80, I'll do that.
Right, yeah. Hey, whatever works for you. That's what I say. Whatever.
It's
Yeah.
just all in your head.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
It's all in your head.
Hillary, do you do anything like that? Any supplementation? We lost Lori. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I have some extra things that I've been taking recently when I've working on my gut
Yeah, right.
and the sensitivities and stuff. But one thing is enzymes
Oh, yeah.
to break down the food,
Probiotics.
Mhm.
and iodine.
Oh.
I've been taking iodine, and then I have a nervous and endocrine system stuff that's been really pretty good. And
Oh,
all the combination of stuff, it really helped my hot flashes go away. And then
Oh,
I was still having some anxiety that would show up.
mhm.
And there's this stuff that's called inositol powder. I'd never heard of it before.
Yeah.
nice.
You
And
know,
so
with
with this, anytime I start feeling anxiety, I'll just take a little, you're supposed to only do like a quarter teaspoon at a time. But
Okay.
I'll take it and just put it in my mouth. It really helps take the edge off.
Wow, what's in it? Just that ingredient?
Yeah. But you can get it in capsule form, but she told me to get it in a powder form.
And I'm just writing it down. I'm gonna look it up. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. I'll
Can you-
check it out.
I'm looking it up.
But it's really helped. And
Okay.
plus too, it has kind of a sweet flavor to it. So like if you are craving sugar, it's like kind of takes that edge off. And then another one that I've always had close by is GABA.
Oh, yeah. Mhm,
Oh, that's supposed to be great.
It takes the edge off too.
mhm,
But-
mhm.
This is my
Yeah.
new, I've never heard of this
Yeah.
before, and it's really good. So
Interesting.
Well, when
that's
you
my-
look it up, you're gonna be like, what? Doesn't make, got a lot of stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, the GABA. I think I've taken that in the past.
It's a sugar.
Hmm.
Wow.
It says it's I'm having a hard time reading it, but it says it's a non-essential member of the B complex family.
Hmm. Yep. See those B vitamins. I wonder. Yeah, that's interesting. And then the other one you mentioned, is it a prebiotic or a probiotic or used for your gut? What did you call that one?
I'm doing enzymes.
Oh, and the enzymes, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm doing those, and then I am doing like one probiotic a day.
Oh, okay. That's helped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
okay.
but it's like I'm even getting more sensitive now, because once I start, like, on my own, I was not doing like gluten and dairy,
Yeah.
but now like when I have like cheese or a bun or something, it's like it right away. It's like my gut's like this.
Mhm.
So it's fascinating to make yourself an experiment and see how stuff reacts to your body. So I pretty
Yeah.
much figured out everything that I like.
Right, yeah. I know cheese can be really hard to digest for a lot of people. It's just one of those, it just is. I mean, who doesn't like cheese? I mean,
You know, I love it.
Love cheese.
oh my gosh, like it's just, but yeah, it can really cause a lot of problems, and gluten too, like with the bun and stuff like that. What about stuff like Ezekiel bread or anything like that? Does that still bother too?
You
or-
know, I haven't even had, like, I hardly have bread. I don't even have it in the house, but
Yeah.
yeah, so I've had it in Ezekiel like years ago, and it seems to do okay.
Yeah.
But
So expensive.
Yeah, that's crazy too, yes. We have a local bread maker, but I think the brand is everywhere. It's called Angelica, which is a lot like the Ezekiel, but it doesn't have to be refrigerated or in the freezer or whatever, and that's really good too. My sister and my daughter they don't tolerate gluten very well. And so they kind of do those kinds of things, and that seems to help. But no, that's interesting. Thanks for sharing, because I think we all find different things that help us depending on what we're going through. I think pre and probiotics are really helpful, and it's just because of, I think we all, we eat good foods, but yet we don't know what's contaminating them. We don't know what's being sprayed on them. Even if it says organic, we don't really know. Is it really organic? I don't know. You hope so, but so I think a lot of people's thyroid problems stem from a lot of the chemicals in the air and falling on foods, and even just the aging process as we get older, that our thyroid's function goes down a little bit too. But then if we have all these foods that are contaminated, that doesn't help either. Just the more and more I talk to women, it's almost like 90% of women have thyroid problems, it's crazy. So
I don't know.
it's
I wish I
crazy.
did.
No.
I wish that was the answer,
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah. For different things. And I remember when I was younger, I went to I don't know what kind of I was into this natural stuff big time in the 80s. And I went to an orthomolecular psychiatrist, which was not a psychiatrist like you think.
Uh-huh.
He studied people's behaviors relating to foods and to nutrition. And he found that whatever you just said led me to go over to this.
Thyroid.
What were you saying? Oh, yeah.
Thyroid and
He said that all of the tests that are out there that have these scores, that every human was completely different. And the thyroid scale, let's just say it was 4.0, and you could be above or below it. It didn't mean you didn't have a thyroid problem.
Right.
Because thyroid is unique to each individual. And I really thought that made a lot of sense.
It's so true. That's just like, that's just, what's normal in the medical world is not normal in the world that I want to live in.
Right. There's a lot of alternative stuff out there that people don't want to engage in, and you get stuck.
Right. Well, there's big pharma, right? They're making millions and millions and billions of dollars, and for what? It's just awful. Yeah, I could go on and on about that, and the way the medicines that cost so much that it's crazy. So I have a niece who has a daughter that has it's not muscular dystrophy. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's a dystrophy. So she's 2 years old, and she's walking and stuff, but she's going to need braces and things like that. And in order to kind of like halt the progress of this disease, there was a medication that they had to get for her. And my niece went through, she was just a bull in a china shop. She got this medicine for her daughter because they have to get like insurance to cover it and stuff like that. She was able to do that, but the drug was like thousands and thousands of dollars. Like, who can afford that? You know, and this is
I
for
know.
her daughter. It's ridiculous. And so yeah, it's that kind of stuff that makes me sick. Like, it's just not right. And so yeah, you're right. I think you just got to find one of those practitioners that really listens to you and that will, you know, make sense of what
Good,
they're
good luck
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah,
It's worse.
hard. Yeah, it's hard. It definitely is. So, but yeah, so I thought it was just kind of fun to, you know, want to talk a little bit about this because this comes up a lot when I talk to women is, you know, what about supplements? And, you know, I think some women are, and men too, they look for that quick fix that's going to make them skinny and, you know, they won't have to work out and they can, but there is no such thing. And so they kind of tend to go, well, there's got to be supplements to help. But I mean, yes and no, right? You still have to do the work. You still have to
Yeah.
exercise and you still want to eat well and you still, you know, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there are things that can help us on the inside and deal with the stress in life and help our mindset, which in turn will help all the other things. And so like I said, this wasn't an all-inclusive list. This was just like 7 things that I found that were super important. But again, there's other things too that help us, each and every one of us, on an individual basis. And so but on that note, I can let you guys go and I will put my what I put together in the comments.
Yeah.
And I'll put some of my other stuff in there too. And you guys do the same thing. I think sharing what
Okay.
you guys are using and what you're using it for, it will help other women too. So sound good?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Take care.
Okay,
guys.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.